Hello, this is Kade, and it is now day 8, I believe it is? I'm losing track again. The Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2950. And today it is Origin Day, and we need to look up the 890 jump. I mean, it's their biggest ship, so why not get started with the biggest ship available? And let's take a little bit of a distance so we can actually look at it. Because she's a big boy. She is a big boy. Yeah, the 890 Jump is of course the ultimate super yacht being sold by Origin, limited quantities each year. It would seem they even adjusted the hull size to fit it in here. It's a really, really big, I like to show off ship. That's how I like to see it. And I know that some people consider this like, there was going to be money to be made with luxury, passenger transport, yada yada yada. I think at this point there's so many of the darn things out there, I'm not sure they're really going to be a revenue generating machine. I think it's safe to say, if you're buying an 890 or if you have an 890 like myself, you'd realize that these things are going to burn the money. They're not going to make you money. That's generally like how a lot of super yachts work. Of course, some can make money with charters, but again, you have to see how much charter demand is there going to be compared to the available fleet out there. Now, the price tag, of course, of the 890 Jump is steep. Let's make no joke about it. I believe they still have the war bond at $890, but yeah, it's a really high price tag to pay for a ship that has absolutely no revenue generation. So for that reason, can I recommend it? If you want one, sure. If you think you can do something useful with it, no. Literally just don't. Now, on a personal note, one thing that I do hope we're going to see in the future is actually customization of interiors of ships. Because especially ships like these 890, they require, personal touches and your own stuff. Because these are super yachts, we want to have at least some customization options in them and how we want to dress them up, so we can make it truly our own personal super yacht. But yeah, as always, they're available in limited numbers. Generally the credit ones tend to sell out rapidly, but the war ones tend to last a little bit longer. When I checked about half an hour after the initial wave, there were still war bond units available, for example. Then flanked by it is of course some of the 100 series. These are Origin's entry into the starter market. So these compete with the likes of the, not really the Nomad, but with these are the tier 1s, so you're competing with the Mustang and the Ahura. Of course, being Origin, they are all about a luxury touch to these things, their own design, and their own price tag. Like, make no mistake, the Origin brand does come with a reasonable markup compared to some other craft which have the same capabilities. Now, as for the 100 series, of course, you have it in various configurations: a standard, a fighter, a cargo holder. It's literally a case of like, buy what you think will fit you if you want one of these, but again, do realize you're paying more for the brand name, and if you want capabilities, a ship like the Nomad might be a better option. Now let's see what they have on display downstairs. I expect to have a couple of things in hollows, but not a lot. They have another 100 series managed they park down here. No idea how you get it in here, but whatever. This is the standard model. The one we looked at, by the way, was the cargo version. And here they have the M50. Now, the M50 is one of the oldest ships available. It did get an interior cockpit rework, which it did kind of need, but they luckily left the exterior alone, which was something I was kind of afraid that they would adjust, because the exterior is not really all that Origin is like. It's more fitting towards the old style of the Origin series, which we will discuss a little bit later when the 300 series come to play. But I'm happy that they did not, because this ship should feel like it's a bit different, because it is a purebred racing ship, So I always compared it like a Formula One Ferrari car does not look like a Ferrari road car. They're two entirely different entities. They just share the same brand and they're being made by the same company. Racing wise, of course, the M50 is still an old classic and it will serve on any very, very well. But of course, these racing ships do come at a price to buy them. And I also expect later on in the first that their maintenance cost will be reasonably substantial because of the use of competition class components, which are not known for their low price or their long-term endurance. Now here we have the G12 buggy. Yeah, I really I appreciate the fact that this thing is actually closed off. Let's start with the positive. I appreciate it's closed off. Beyond that, I just think it's absolutely hideous. I can't help myself with that one. However, you know, again, if you want a buggy, this one at least is fully closed off. Don't really bother about getting firepower on these things. It's really just pointless. But, you know, if you want the basic version of this because you like a closed-up buggy to zoom around in, by all means. And if you like the design, by all means, you can get one. I have not really seen many of the ground vehicles that I would really like. It would appear that they don't have any models for their bikes, because Origin also has some hover bikes available. I believe they call them the X1 series or something. Again, if you want one, you know, compare it to the Nox Q and of course the Drake Dragonfly. From what I believe, the X1s are a little bit more bulky and width-wise, but slightly shorter. But of course, with these things not being out there, everything is subject to change. Now we do have 2 more hulls, because of course Origin has quite a reasonable selection of ships currently available. And just once again, like, it's big. Oh yeah, this is I believe this was the racing or the combat version, I think, of the 100 series. Yeah, this is the combat, the light fighter. And again, if you want a fighter, you know, go and get a fighter. And these starters, you know, they can do it, but they're not really gonna kill all that much, and it will take you quite a while to kill things. I mean, you can even notice that if you're flying like a Mercury Star Runner with 2 size 3 weapons available to you as a pilot, you'll notice that it takes quite a while to actually kill something. Right, so here we have the good old 600i center stage. The 600i is a ship that needs TLC. I think that's something that most people can agree on. The interior is rather wasteful in the way it's laid out. And I think even CRG has much been like, maybe we do need to make some changes because, you know, lessons have been learned from the 890. It does come, of course, in 2 versions, touring and exploration. Again, you're paying a tax because it's an Origin ship. If you want to go explore, there are probably better ships out there for it. If you want to go touring, however, you know, much akin to the 890, like the 600 in that aspect is like a normal super yacht, and the 890 is like a mega yacht or something like on those lines. So it will be a, you know, credit consuming vessel and not a revenue generating vessel. So yeah, if you want one, you can get one, but if you're looking for capabilities, you know, ships like the Carrack for exploration, for example, will probably do a lot better, and even the Aquila might do somewhat better, although we'll have to see. Of course, the Carrack's price jump does make it a little bit harder to recommend. Now here we have the base model 300 series. I think we may see some other ones in the hall over there. The rework for these ones has me always a little bit in doubt. So I will admit that overall it is growing on me, with the exception of the 350R. The 350R in this styling just looks absolutely wrong, because just like the M50, it is a racing ship, and the old 350R model actually looked really cool and really had that, you know, feeling like that this is a race ship design wise, which I don't think the new version really has. 300 series, of course, is in the same bracket as the Nomad and now I'm forgetting the name suddenly. The Aegis Penguin ship. Sorry, I really the name just slipped past my mind. Same league as that. Again, capability-wise, it's a bit of a mixed bag. What do you want? What are you looking for? And again, you know, you're paying for the design and for the brand. That's just never gonna change. And if you get into combat, they are not the most sturdy ships around. Over here we have what was a failed racing ship turned into a small little runabout. That's the 85X, right? Yes, it is. So this thing comes with, or it used to, I'm not sure if they still do, but it used to come with the 890. So this would be your runabout ship. It's a snub ship, so it does have a quantum drive, but with all the other snub ships, don't expect too much of it. And it is quite expensive for what it is, so I think the most of these were sold like people were using them as LTI tokens, because just buying them to have one of these is generally not worth it, although I do think it's a really cool looking little ship. Now I am curious what they have in the other hold, and unless I missed, like, they only have 300 series left, but we shall see. I am mostly a little tired, so I may slip my mind a few things more. Of course, you know, with Origin, of course, seeing this hallway, you may actually recognize the similar design from the 600i commercial. It's been shown all those years ago. So yeah, sometimes things take time to get done. And yeah, as expected, just the 300 series, but then the different variations. So we have the 325A, of course, fighter variation. We have the 315P, which is going to be light exploration, and then the 350R, which is going to be your racing ship of the series. As I said, like, if you want to get a fighter, there's just better options than the 325A. Of course, it has the advantage of having that full interior, so if that's something you're after, you don't want that, and you're willing to sacrifice defenses and firepower for that, by all means. 315P, just useful, you know, entry level, bit of exploration ship. It has a tractor beam, it will be able to scan stuff. Could be interesting, but we'll just have to see how it will actually perform. 350R has, I don't really keep track of the racing market right now, but last time I heard it was not really all that light. But yeah, the main issue with this one is it doesn't look like the old 350R, but it's, you know, full on double engines and stuff. And I think that's really kind of a sad thing. And it does pack quite a price tag, and with ships, you know, a lot of their speeds are fairly close these days. It makes this one the hardest one to recommend of the 300 series. Like, if you really want the 300 series, the 100i or the 300i, you know, the base model, is the easiest one to really recommend. So that makes it then today for Origin. The good old manufacturer, originally from Earth, then moves over to New Terra. And they are maintaining their plan of selling luxury ships at really high markups, like some car brands, of course, which have inspired this brand to be made in the game. Again, I will just repeat, in general, you're paying a tax because of that brand. If you're just looking for capability, you're gonna get better value outside of the Origin brand. If you really like the design of the Origin ships, you don't mind paying a little bit extra or taking a reduction in capabilities, you're of course free to get one, but I want you to be fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. And yeah, this is Origin. That leaves only RSI, of course, tomorrow for the last manufacturer to be shown. And the day after that, we're gonna have the best in show. And for the best in show, I'll just go through what they are still having available as in best in show, and also just give a bunch of recommendations for, you know, ships in different price brackets that I can personally always recommend as a good way to get going and Star Citizen for different sort of professions. Keep in mind, these will be my opinions, of course, as always, and they may differ from yours. Always look up different sources. Different people have different opinions, and stats are always subject to change. So with that, I thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope it was informative to some of you, and I'll see you tomorrow.